I'm Robin. My middle name is Dennis. Unfortunately, my mother and father couldn't spell Robin for a girl, and so they spelt it in the boy's way. And I think I've had many opportunities through life because people always expected a boy or a man to turn up the name Robin Dennis Clark. I was born on the 13th of May, 1936. I was a school teacher for the first part of my working life, and then I did social work. And for the last 10 years I've been in management in social welfare, which is what I'm doing now in Victoria. I've had a very good, very interesting life, very full life. I'm not married, no children, but I feel I've nurtured many.
Robin Clark has nurtured so many children, and now children through generations, because she has inspired all of us to work in a system and to build a system that is truly child-centred and family-focused. We are so indebted to Robin Clark. She was a woman of enormous compassion. She was a scholar, she was a researcher, she inspired governments to set up programs that were more innovative. She was passionate about quality care for children in out-of-home care. She wanted to work with families to stop them coming into care. These awards tonight are a celebration of her social justice values in action. She would have been so proud of your work and would have delighted in your passion for good practice.
Ten people walk into my office looking for a job. A couple of the first things that I say to them is that we are dealing with the most marginalised, complex, traumatised young people that will act out behaviourally. So in that sense, you need a strong stomach, and you need to be resilient, and recognise that's a defence mechanism. And once you get past that, anything is possible with young people.
I've always been interested in working with children, and I previously had been involved in therapeutic work with families and children. The families that we work with in child protection are the most disadvantaged, so they're the most challenging. So I really wanted to work with these children because they're the children that need it at most.
We very quickly established that I was not faint-hearted. And so that sort of led on to everything else and formed a base. And it is a calling. I mean, I think that if people are just doing it for a job, it's never going to work.
Robin Clark has nurtured many children, and she's nurtured many generations of practitioners. She's inspired us to work in a system and to build a system that actually loves children. She loved children, and her passion and her clarity about what is good practice has laid the foundation for many of the reforms that we've enacted today.
When students first arrive at Parkville College, Malmesbury, they're largely disengaged and they've had negative educational experiences. So we try to build positive relationships with them and tailor our education to their needs.
Often just saying, good on you, that's a job well done, you might be the first person that's ever said that to them in their lives. And so I think what I've found is the most fulfilling part's definitely what you can bring to the clients here.
You can actually move on with your life. You don't have to be stuck in a life full of drugs and crime. You can change it yourself. So I reckon it's given me a head start in life.
The teachers at Malmesbury play an important role in the development and rehabilitation of these clients. So them together with DHS staff in the classrooms can interact with them nearly on a 2-to-1 basis, allowing plenty of time for growth of the human development so that when they get released, they're able to participate in mainstream community activities.
We've been in foster care together for 10 years, but I was doing it before we met, so 15 years altogether. I keep doing it, I guess, because a lot of young people really do need somewhere that's stable and long-term accommodation and a home. And I suppose when you see the kids doing well, you get a lot out of it. Personally, you see them develop and make changes and get jobs and continue education and all the important things that they may not have
you feel really proud to be able to see these kids progress from the situations they start off into being able to develop and make something of themselves.
And they very much become part of your family, really. Like, it doesn't happen instantly. You know, the longer term kids, when you've had someone with you for 7 years, they're part of the family.
Well, to start off with, my situation wasn't good. I went through 85 different foster carers before I found the family I am with now. And these family I am with now, Sandy and Tony, they are my parents. I call them mum and dad, and they've changed my life. When I first went into care with them, they unpacked all my bags and said, you know what, you're staying no matter what. And I think that's when I finally felt like I was loved and I felt I belonged.
I had a foster carer in Emerald that really shaped me and taught me a lot of things about fun and life and all that. And what I do now is related to what those experiences were when I was younger.
The impact that the decisions that I help families make right now is going to impact into the future, and that's really important to me. But also, I think just to be able to actually understand families, listen to families, and learn about families and how they're going to be the creators and the drivers of their own change. It just fascinates me, and I think that's what drew me in and what makes me drive every day to do a better job.
Robyn Clark, I think, has been a huge influence on child protection. I think I never obviously got to the privilege to work with her or know her even, but certainly we see a vastly different child protection system now than 25 years ago, I suppose, even 15 years ago.
I think of her sort of as a teacher. She was a social worker. She was a researcher. She was a practitioner. She was a really good communicator. And she was a stirrer. She was very active in bringing things together.
It's about knowing what it is that each child needs and not giving up until you get it, whatever that is, whether it's about clothing, whether it's about education, whether it's about getting a specialised counsellor, or whether it's ensuring that there's policies that can enact that. So moving between those levels and continuums is what Robyn did beautifully. She could engage young people, and she could also supervise people to the point where she focused on what was individually needed from each worker, and that was at a practitioner level. She would talk to all those people and bring them together. She'd make them believe they could work together, and then she would take that to a policy level, and then she would teach it. So she actually moved across that continuum, and that was one of the first times I have seen that. I was fortunate enough to win the award for inspirational leadership in the second year that the awards were implemented, and that had a really profound effect on me. I was, it's a humbling award because it's belonging to everyone. And what did it do for me? What did I feel responsible for after that? I felt responsible for continuing the journey that Robyn had given me the confidence to start, that I had a responsibility to continue my education because she believed I could.
The recipients of tonight's award should be so proud, honouring the work and the legacy, the vision of Robyn Clark. Congratulations, the work you have done is outstanding, and she would have been so delighted